We're at the top of the league. Down on the Rangers, lads. What is happening? How are you keeping? Welcome to the Patriot Game podcast. Tonight we're going to be reviewing Sunday's game. There's going to be plenty of laughs. There's going to be plenty of big smiles. Martino, I'll go to you first, mate. What did you think? You still on cloud nine, mate?
Aye, buzzing. That's for me. That's the league done. They'll give you all the sort of regurgitated cliches, and they'll be as professional as possible in the media and say we still take one game at a time. We need to go over the line and all that. But that is the performance was superb. The victory was massive, and that's as good as the league wrapped up in Champions League football next season. So it's absolutely massive financially. The sort of footing it can put the club on, the kind of players that we can attract. Hopefully, some of the players that we can now keep, like your Carter Vickers of this world. But just a massive performance, massive sort of a statement to have that level of belief going behind. I thought that would happen. I'd said that in the last one, that I thought they'd sort of pummel us in the first wee while. We need to weather the storm, and my worry was that it'd split us on the wing, and it happened. But to give them their due, I thought defensively, after that Celtic barely put a foot wrong. It just showed complete resolve. Like, you look at the difference in the way that we've transformed within the space of one season. If that performance was 9 months ago, we would have completely capitulated. There's a total belief in the team, and it'll continue to improve. And I think we'll go on and win the league now. And I also think we'll absolutely, and I mean literally, batter them at Hampden. St Johnstone's obviously the priority first, but big pitch, expansive football, get them. By the way, see, before we go any further though, he deserves a lot of credit, Greg Taylor. I can't stand him personally. I think he's generally appalling. He offers none. He was amazing the other day. But Callum McGregor, he was the difference the other day. That run for the first goal, that just set the tone. It did. And my mate Muzza was saying that, and he was saying, like, you look at Jota, he wasn't that interested. A couple of step-overs before the pass goes back. McGregor's got one thing in his mind: I need to change the direction of this game. I need to take it by the face of the neck. When you want a captain to step up, like we've said this loads of times, Pierce, Keane used to say it. You didn't need someone to be the bravest by lunging into tackles and getting stupid jellos. You need someone to be brave on the ball and want to make things happen. And that run just changed the game, changed the tempo, changed the mindset, changed everything. He was absolutely unbelievable. The guy's imperious, and he'll never get the credit he deserves as long as he stays at Celtic, out with Celtic fans. But he could play at any level, and I mean any level. He could play any team he wanted. He was unbelievable the other day.
I agree. Pierce, come to you, my man. Buzzing.
I think the most telling part of it was Celtic were quite poor and still comfortably should have won the game 3 or 4. Like, they, for the whole second, like, they literally, like, when we were watching the game on Sunday, they put everything into that first 5 minutes, and then as soon as we scored the goal, it was as if like someone just put like a dagger through them. Their intensity dropped. The game opened up, but I think they realised if this game gets too open, Celtic will just run over them. And like, we were quite poor. Tati again in the middle of the park wasn't great again. McGregor played well. Rogic was just like some of the stuff. So there was one in the first half where, I think it was the second half where he took the ball down. He eventually kind of gave away with it, but he took it down out of the sky and like pirouetted around like 3 players. He's just a phenomenal player. And I thought he would have played Riley for the intensity, but Rogic just doesn't let you down. But yeah, I think that's the league done. And we could win that league by 10, 12 points now. I can see them dropping more points
definitely
as the league goes on. They'll try and put everything into this European campaign. But hopefully that could be their season finished on Easter Sunday. Would any luck Braga do something, that's them gone. And hopefully Celtic then just plough on now. There's a big year coming next year, going to the Champions League. That's where we'll see the big difference, hopefully, next season.
I totally agree, lads. I thought we were absolutely fantastic. From the back lane, Joe Hart right up to the forward lane. I thought every single position. You mentioned Greg Taylor. Martino, you know my thoughts on Greg Taylor. I'm not his biggest fan. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. Juranovic, the first 5 minutes, was caught out. Should have had a wee bit of cover from the centre half, but it didn't work out that way. And they took the lead, went 1-0 up. And I don't know about you boys, but I absolutely shit myself I absolutely bricked it and was like, this is going to end up about 4 or 5-0. But like you said, Martin, that's Colin McGregor in a nutshell. He doesn't need to be this hard man, grab the microphone over to the fucking section and pretend that he's, Mr. Celtic. He does his talking on the pitch. He took that ball, made that run. He only had one thing in his mind there. He was getting into that box, he was creating a chance. He's priceless. You can't put a price tag on someone like that. You just can't. He's absolutely incredible. Rakic as well for me. Rakic is just an absolute diamond. And to think that he was going to be getting sold to go to Qatar last year, I mean, what was going on there? He's obviously thriving under Postecoglou, and like every player just seems like they're thriving under Postecoglou. Again, from Joe Hart, absolute disgrace that he walked on that second half and fucking emptied them glass bottles all over the pitch. By the way, he's a disgrace.
But I heard our physio, after he threw the bottle at his own head, I think, passed it to Joe Hart to carry out onto the pitch.
It has to be said, how stupid are these fucks? Like,
I mean, to be fair, you could laugh at it now, and even the instant it ends, but there's barely a game, there's barely a league where that would be. It's basically tolerated in this country. I mean, there's been numerous times in the past, like with Brown and all that, and Griffiths, when they ran on the pitch, grabbed a hold of him. The incident at Tynecastle with Lennon and all that sort of stuff. It's almost laughed off in this country. You had professional football players at their work getting hurled glass bottles at. You had a situation where they tried to maim a goalkeeper by putting split bottles on the ground. Then you had literally a Celtic physio who's an official of the club being glassed. I mean, they'll say what they want and they'll probably do a wee look into it, and I wouldn't be surprised if they chuck someone to the wolves and they'll maybe give someone like a ban or something. But if that was anywhere else, you'd be talking about stadium closures. I'm not going to get too sort of dramatic and catastrophise it, but like, it's outrageous that that's almost overlooked as normal in this country. I mean, you've got 50,000 bigots in the place singing that they want to wade in your blood, and then they're literally trying to seriously injure and maim football players. It's absolutely mad. But they deserve what they got. I was delighted to see the amount of tears. I was delighted to see that they were absolutely ruined. And the bear-on-bear action after the game was quite pleasing. But they're just a disgrace. They deserve everything they get this season, which will be fuck all. And
it doesn't surprise you, but it's just like you say, it's tolerated, mate. It's tolerated. It's the pretend surprise by the commentators.
Could you imagine if down in England there was a situation where a player literally was like, this is a guy, no that you should have to justify, it shouldn't happen at any level. This is a guy that was a fucking international goalkeeper walking back to go to his goal, and the game has to be stopped because you have to pick up smashed bottles of glass. If you would have a situation where an official would literally be glassed. And the reason I think that there'll be a precedent and nothing will happen is because after a Celtic manager was attacked, barely nothing happened. There's been numerous instances like this. And it's just passed off as if it's meant to be accepted and normal. And without going too much into it, just a side issue, there was a situation where the ex-Hun's wife went in and done a report just the other now on anti-racism, or rather the causes of racism in Scotland. And they didn't talk about the biggest factor, which is anti-Irish racism in the country. People are just blind to it. They think it's normal, but there's deeper, more fundamental roots to why they behave the way that they do. They're just absolutely embroiled in hatred. I'm delighted that they got battered, and they deserved everything they got. But I don't think we were at our best. The thing that impressed me the most was just the mentality. It was just the desire, the will to win, and the fact that all the players knew their position. They communicate well, they pick up, they help each other, they tuck in. Like, I think that was probably best sort of evidenced by Giakoumakis. His work rate was, I know he doesn't put in the run in that Maeda gives you. He was back almost as a centre half at points. Like he was
covered Jordan in the second half as well.
Aye, he's clearing crosses, pitting and sliding tackles, winning 50-50s, going in for headers, winning duels. Like, the work rate the other day for the team was a joke. And it maybe at times wasn't as fluent. There's no Tom Rogic on the ball, but I just thought the mentality was everything, and they wanted to win. They got it, and I can't see Celtic slipping up now. I think they'll just. Pierce hit the nail on the head. They'll put everything into trying to get by Braga and potentially going further, which I could see them doing, and then that'll be to their detriment because I think they'll recognise that the league's over. Like what you said, the second Celtic scored that first goal, they sort of capitulated. Heeds went down. think there was an inevitability about it. They knew what was going to happen. But what a tanning they're going to take, by the way, in the semi-final. They'll get battered. I'm genuinely, I think it'll be 4 or 5. I think Celtic will do a number on them. Could have been 3 or 4 the other day. We never played particularly amazing. That one, the save for McGregor for Abada, I thought that was sailing in the top corner.
Aye. Some save, to be fair. There was a lot of things that impressed me even before the game. Even the talk about, is Kyogo going to be on the bench? I said this, if it was last year with the leak in the team with the known Kyogo's national insurance number. But, I mean, I was texting you boys before the game thinking that Ange was just going to chuck him in if he was fit enough. Just not to be in the squad. Unbelievable.
I think he'll play the semi.
Yeah, I think that's inevitable now. It was very, very close. I'd say he was very close to being in the squad. And it was maybe a last minute decision.
I think he'll probably get minutes against St Johnstone. You maybe see him coming as a sub for 20, 30 minutes. And then I think he'll play. But it'd be brutally harsh on Giakoumakis. It'd be amazing to see them playing up top together. But it'd be very harsh on him. The way he's worked, his goals recently, his contribution to the team, his work rate. It'd be very hard to drop him. But brilliant headache to have for the manager when you've got 2 strikers that are absolutely bang on it. I literally forgot that Ajeti exists. But if we bring in another striker to complement the 2 of them, I think Celtic will be in a really good position next year, and we'll have the money as well, serious money. So you'll need to just give Ange complete control. He obviously knows what he looks for. He obviously knows what he wants, and just go and take it to them. I think next season Celtic will be a serious force. I think Celtic will be quite tidy actually next year. 2 or 3 positions we need filled, and if we can put a bit of class in, I think he'll start to develop a proper team.
Yeah, especially with the 40 million cabbage that'll be coming in at the end of the season. Bring another couple of cracking players in amongst that team. It'll be unreal. Postecoglou, we've spoken about this before. People are saying that he always sort of impresses in the second season. I mean, Jesus, how do you we talked about it at the very start of the season as well. That we spoke about even if Ange, get into the Europa League, that it was a miracle. We're talking about going for a travel here. We've already won a cup. We're 6 points clear, basically 7 points clear with goal difference. We'll play them in the semi-final next Sunday. Absolutely incredible for me. And I've said this, and this isn't being over the top. This for me would be one of the, if not the most impressive league victory in my lifetime. Obviously stabbing the 10 in a row, 87, 88. But for the state we were in last year, honestly, I can't even put it into words. If you told us at the start of the season that we were going to play them in 3 times, get 2 victories, go into the semi-final against them, supremely confident, you probably wouldn't have believed it. Look at the way that team's playing. What equally is really, really impressing me is that you have 11 players on that pitch, even off the pitch as well, with the subs who want to play for the club. We had so many players associated with Celtic last year who believed they were better than what they were. Chris Ayer, Edward, maybe take him out of that thinking he's better than what he is. But didn't want to be there. Christie didn't want to be there. Ange has cleared that out. Players like Leo Hilda, you don't want to play for Celtic. Fuck off down the Leeds. No, you've got a team now. You've seen that. Look at the work rate. Maeda, you mentioned Giakoumakis first. Maeda's work rate was absolutely stupendous. Again, you can't buy that. There was a couple. I sent them today, so saying that he was running
kilometers.
That was a bit of a stretch, but honest to God, that work rate is just both of them. Giakoumakis and Maeda's work rate was absolutely incredible. I thought Juranovic showed a lot of steel as well. Obviously, he had a first 5-10 minutes he was shaky, and then he recovered really well. That ball from Maeda in the second half,
unbelievable.
Holy good fuck, he is an absolute diamond.
See when you see though, the first pass that goes in, Giakoumakis will go and press, and then the second ball, if it goes out to the wing back, Maeda's on it. His work rate, his ability to be able to do a full sprint, and then a ball goes back and he does it again. His fitness is a joke thing. I get cracked up when Ange says, you've no really, his fitness isn't great yet. He'll be good next season. You think, fucking hell, man, the guy's like a racehorse. He's an absolute whippet. His fitness is a joke. If there's better players in Japan, just take an open checkbook and go and buy the lot of them. Buy the whole team. Their mentality is a joke. Their work rate's a joke, and then you've also got crazy quality in there as well, like Kyoko and all that. But there's a makings of a top team there. My first signing would just be Carter Vickers. He needs to get bought.
100%.
Even if we can only keep him for a season or two. He's got the lure now with top European football. He can put himself in an open market. You need to start being realistic. He's not going to be staying forever. He's a young lad. He's very, very talented. As far as I'm concerned, he's the best centre half we've had, I'd say, considerably since Van Dijk. And he might not go on to replicate the level that Van Dijk plays at now, but I don't think he'll be a million miles off. He'll definitely play at a top level. But he'd be my first signing. He already knows the club, knows the position, being established for a season, bringing a couple of players around him, and I think you've got the makings of quite a tidy team now.
Are you back on the Starfelt train, Pierce?
Yeah, all right.
Pierce, are you back on the Starfelt train?
No, him. No, see the second half, you have to say to him, he did okay because he just had to clear the ball. But the first half, he was a disaster waiting to happen.
It was all over the place.
And look, they did what I would have done in the first half. All the pressure on his left foot because he can't kick the ball. The first goal originally came from he kicked the ball out for a throw-in, 4 yards of a clearance because he couldn't get the ball. Some of his rash throwing himself into players, like he did one with he pushed Roof at one point in the first half, which was the most brain dead free kick that I've ever seen in my life. All they could do, their whole thing was get balls into the box, and we were gifting them free kicks. But look, he did well, and it's where everyone stood up on Sunday and played well. But I would still want at least one centre half. We might need two if we don't get Carter Vickers. Still need a left back. I know Greg Taylor was brilliant. He got two defensive, brilliant. I mean, he nearly, a bit of pace, he could have nearly scored himself on Sunday. But we still need a left back going in for next season. But I don't want to go criticising players too much because Sunday was just a massive, massive win, and people were there and were big and they were brave in the game. But there's a lot of improvements. I know. Look, Jota for me is just a no. I just don't see it. I genuinely don't know people. If all four people that are listening might be laughing, but he hasn't kicked the ball since maybe November time. Genuinely, I mean, Wraith Rovers in the cup. People were getting
stuck a rusty knife in my heart.
He was good. He was good against Ross County at home. The problem for me, I agree with you to a degree, that in the bigger games, he's not really turned up. He never really done anything against them. The last time we played him at Celtic Park, it was fairly anonymous, actually. He's always good for a wee step over, but I just think he lacks a bit of product or a bit of quality when you need players like that to step up. And they're probably the same as labelled against Abada because they drifted out of games. I still think we need a really good. I thought we've needed it for years. A really top centre mid, like defensive centre mid, like a Wanyama or something. Someone that you could just sit as an anchor, a six, just to protect the back four. We definitely need a left back. Need another centre half. I'd love to get in another goalkeeper. For as amazing as Hart's been, I'd like someone to challenge him because gives me the fear of God. The thought that he gets injured and what
how old is he?
Got,
30,
I think he's 36. Is he no? Is he no 36?
Something like that. I don't know. There was always that talk we were interested in Seagrass at Dundee United.
Yeah, he's actually all right. But we definitely need someone. And I think he's probably got a season or two left in him. He's been immense this season, Joe Hart. What a signing he's been. But I'd like someone else in. Aye, or the save when it was the one when he went low to the left-hand side.
Yeah,
Sakala.
Sakala.
Or even the offside from Ramsey as well.
Yeah.
But that was it. That was the extent of their chances on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I couldn't disagree more about Jota. Honestly.
Fire away.
I think he's absolutely sensational. He had that injury. He was flying before his injury. No, I'm not bullshitting. He is.
No, it's just the contrast between Pierce saying he needs to go and you saying he's absolutely world class.
I wouldn't say he's world class, but I'm saying that he's fantastic for us. That ball into the box, thought it was a wee bit deep at first. When you look back, great ball into the box. Does he do enough tracking back at times? No.
Nah,
and I think we pointed out there, Giakoumakis helped him out a lot in that game. He was fucking incredible, by the way. But
It was immense.
for me, Jota's a must. If we can sign him from Benfica, if it can happen, I would bet your hand and your balls off for it. I just think he's absolutely incredible. Yes, I agree with the stopovers and stuff, but he's still young. He can get better. Definitely can get better.
I also think one of his issues is I think he's gone mentally in his head. He's not coming back to Celtic.
I think he's definitely looked like a different player. Like the first 6 months he was at Celtic, I was thinking
he was injured though as well.
Stone me, man.
Bit of an injury.
Who is this laddie? I was thinking there's no way he'll be back playing first team football. He'll go for funny money somewhere. But I mean, up until the point of Christmas, you'd have been thinking, just do the deal now, make it happen now. But as players are temperamental, players can be fickle. I think there's a player in him. I think if he comes back and if we do get him, he could probably, if he got a decent contract, he'd probably give an amazing 1 or 2 years. There's a couple of positions that need sorted because some of the players are just went over the hill slightly. But the thing that Ange seems to love is youth and understanding how to utilise players in certain positions. And he's a massive advocate of a sort of team spirit as opposed to individualism. So I could see him bringing in the right players for the right fits. But I still think we probably need 4 players, I'd say. If we've got 4 proper players, I didn't just mean squad players. I mean players that would literally step into the first team in the summer. I'd be delighted. Players of real quality, like actually players of substance. And then I could probably see a few going. I don't think he fancies Julian. I think he'll be off. There'll be probably a few going up like Deadwood, like your Ayetis and all that of this world. But I trust him completely. And you have to understand as well that this is a guy that's been working with the exact same backroom staff as what completely and utterly failed us last year. Like the fact he's not even brought his own staff.
Whoa! Don't slag the
laptop. I could not stand him. And to be fair, the crazy thing is, see when things are going well, you just forget about things like that. The fact that
that's what I'm saying. People were just looking for people to blame last year.
I know, of course. I used to want to put the laptop over his head, and in this year, I'm like, good be lad, yeah, that's fucking a Ken's what he's doing. But there's
his celebrations as well on that goal winning. He was going fucking tonto.
There's a good togetherness though, and when you watch the open goal ones, like they get similar sort of viewing numbers to ours, so they'll know what we're talking about. They, when Ange goes on them, he always says, "I want people to buy into my philosophy. I've never really cared about taking my staff with me. I want to implement a philosophy, a style of playing. I want everyone to buy into the same mindset." The guy just gets it. I love him. I mean, Lee, you jumped on his train very, very quick. I was standing on the platforms and I wanted them to do well, but if we could rectify his absolutely gung-ho nature to go toe for toe in Europe, then Jesus, he'd be unbelievable. What the job he's done in such a short space of time has been ridiculous.
I think I said at the start that. Go ahead.
Here's a wee quick one, Lee. I said this to Pearson. He said no. I just wanted to ask if say this league goes tits up, and for some, like they get divine intervention and they manage to salvage this, and we completely not capitulate and they win the league. Would you keep Ange on for the foreseeable? Would you keep him on next year? Like if we didn't win the league this season?
I would keep him. I would like to see him until my dying days. Personally. I think he's literally, I've said it, the second coming of Jesus Christ. Nah, in all seriousness, 1,000,000%. I think the job that he has done. I'll ask you as a question. At the start of the season, would you have been happy with a League Cup win and a Scottish Cup win?
I said on the very first podcast when you said we'd win the league, I said that if we were in touch and distance with them at Christmas time, he'd be doing well. So he's done that. He's surpassed that. I think if somehow they don't win the league from here, it's not just him who has to go. Like everyone needs to be sacked at that club.
And listen, you're talking about crazy things here. Like, but no, I like the
O'Neill's team threw it away with 3 games to go. So I mean, it can happen, but I can't see it happening.
I think the most important thing is that of the last 6 games, 4's at home. I think that's massive. they have. I have a funny feeling. I know I say about this every single game, but they've St. Mirren away on Sunday.
Who need to win?
Don't get me wrong; they were beat last week. They do need a win. They've been playing decent enough under Robinson. It's a big game. It's a big game. More importantly, as well, they're going to drop more points.
His team to be
that
trying
team are absolutely shit. And I think the biggest crime last year was that team, Rangers winning that league. Honestly, your man Goldson, how is he a professional footballer? He is absolutely fucking awful. Your man McGregor pulls him out of so much trouble. It's unbelievable. Balogun's a myth. Bassey's a myth. Fucking who had that midfield? Okay. Nah, I don't rate him. I don't see it. Look at the first half in the February game. He's a fucking myth, man. That team are brutal.
I'd say the half he's useless, but at left back he's actually alright.
That freak McGregor, he does pull off absolute nonsense saves. Like the stuff he's done in Europe's a joke. But I actually thought he was responsible for the first goal. I thought that should have been bread and butter. Hatate was a basic pass back. And he palmed it to Rogic.
Yeah.
I thought he should have been mopping that up all day long. And he does that. He's susceptible to, like, you've seen the Ross County game and all that season, but I think coming back, there'll be leggy. There's no Morelos. There's no focal point to their team. I think they'll be quite low in confidence after that weekend there. Couldn't really give a shit what happens with them in Europe, to be fair. But I think that'll be to their detriment. I think that they struggle away from home, and teams park the bus. They can't play. They can't overload the middle of the park, and they can't get balls in the box. And I think, failing their usual penalties, I think they'll struggle. I could probably see them getting a draw or two, maybe away from home between now and the end of the season. But we'll beat them, and when I say beat them, I mean comfortably beat them at Celtic Park.
Fuck with Alfie as well, aren't they? We Alfie's out for the rest of the season. He's gone, by the way. He's away.
He's sitting in KFC, they're now fat wee fuck. But we're
lucky him.
I think Celtic will do a number on them at hand, and then I think we'll batter them at Celtic Park. Work out how to play them, understand, and it's a different ball game at Celtic Park as well. You're not playing in that sort of atmosphere. The players it's a different pressure, it's a different environment, a different atmosphere. But I can't see Celtic throwing it away. I just think they're being too consistent, deserved it on an absolutely ridiculous run. Think back to the scepticism and the rage that was surrounding Giakoumakis. Remember the penalty missed against Livingston?
Oh, I was ready to do it.
Still wasn't the right choice, to be fair.
Look at the difference in mood now, and the difference in the way that the seasons went. Like, you think of the games that have been pivotal, like the couple of these shitty wee games where we didn't play well, but like Abada steps up with that 90-minute winner, and there's been different events in the season that's defined it. I mean, Celtic have needed to have pulled out, and right now I would say Celtic deserve, on form alone, since the last 20 games, 25 games, Celtic have just been unreal. Win the league this season, get the job done. Hopefully in the Scottish Cup, I think we'll play Hearts in the final. I think Hibs will shit the bed in the semi.
It doesn't even. I don't have to shit the bed. Hearts are an infinite better team than Hibs. Hibs are a woeful team, and I really
don't really hold back to get Pierce.
Seriously, desperately to play them away in the split and hammer them. Like, I hope they get top 6 because they're a horrible club.
You still traumatized for that away game?
Yeah, can't deal with them.
Kenny's coming in here with sneaking his Julian's going to stay until we find out what's happening with Cameron Catholic Vickers. Even then, we might give him another year because ideally we need 4 centre backs. His contract's up in 2023, right?
Yeah, I'd love Julian to stay. I rate Julian. I think in Europe he's very good. I think sometimes in the league he struggles with players getting touch tight with the physicality, like got sort of notably bullied by, like, in Livingston and things like that. But was that not where he had his? Was that not where he tackled the post as well? That game at Livingston?
No, that was like the following season. I don't know. Did you talk about it? Because I was off for ages because the internet was gone. But
no, just mean. But Julian, I would keep Julian 100%. I just personally think he'll go because he'll want minutes. He's not playing football. I just don't reckon that he's fancied too much. I personally just think Ange just want to bring in all his own players, his own methodology, his own style, his own mentality. But I'd definitely keep him. I think there's a top player in Julian. But Carter Vickers is a must. I personally just think that Julian will go because he's too good a player just to be sitting in a squad. He'll want to play football.
He's 31, 32, so he's probably on the way down. He's probably time to
I
move
think
on.
I think he'll probably want to go back to France.
But what did we spend 7 million on him? That was a lot of money.
£8 million.
Yeah. So it's, I know with injuries and all that, it probably hasn't been the best investment. I don't know. I was off for a few minutes because the internet was down, but they just talk about Beaton's performance in the second half.
No,
I don't want to bring it up.
He was outstanding. Honest to God, he was outstanding.
I agree. And see, even before the game, Piercy and I said about Beaton, I just thought he is that stopgap. Listen, I don't think he's the right man to be, going in the Champions League football next year, or, going for 2 in a row next year. I don't.
he will play our first game.
Aye.
Centre half.
Captain. But
He's a stick on.
again, Hattari just looks absolutely fucking exhausted.
I wouldn't play him again.
I don't know about you, but I lost my voice back. That one where they were running down and Hattari was chasing after him, and he was just done. He was spent.
Yeah, he was gone. Yeah,
Get him
just
so.
play-
ball went out
You
of
could tell
play.
10 minutes before that he was fucked. Get him off.
Just play Turnbull, and he just needs to go and rest. Just send him on holiday and lie on a beach for a few weeks. He needs to go and chill out. You could see where we sat, and then they tried to play through the press. When the ball turns over, Hattati just looked like, I think mentally he was willing, but physically just looked shot. He looked fucked.
But he was all over the place position wise,
all over the place. The best thing he done was that shot on target for Ragic's goal.
But Beaton was just even.
Beaton was
that run at the end. You were just willing them to get into the box and score because it was just he ran 40, 50 yards with the ball.
Yeah, and that's if he keeps his head, if Beaton keeps his head, and he sits in that role, when he's on form, he's fucking very easy on the eye. Like,
I think he'll be the only one though at his.
He's got that experience in big games as well. What's that? Sorry.
He'll be the only one in this testimonial next season.
I will not be attending that.
We're playing the Israeli Defence Forces in a charity game.
I'll be here. Lads, it's just been an absolute high for the last couple of days. Twitter is back. Twitter has been a fucking cesspit for well over 12 months. This last couple of days, there has been some unbelievable tweeting.
Shout out to their bloggers.
What are they thinking? They're like, what the fuck? Why do you go to a football game and fucking video it and then video the away fans going ballistic?
Just who was that? Was that the video with the wee English lad in the top tier?
Oh, what's
singing the Billy Boys?
Banging the wall.
Banging his
some of the content has been decent. I'm enjoying the absolute pain that they're going through. Also, I quite enjoy the absolute zoomers that phone into that super scoreboard. That's a buzz. They are just on a different level, man. These guys are absolute moonhowlers, rockets. I don't know what game sometimes these people watch, but they're absolutely not utterly delusional. They just make up shit. But
the delusion is incredible because everything was merry last Friday, and then within the space of 2 days, it's the world's falling apart, and they're the worst team ever. And you're like at 12:04, what was it? At 12:04, he's had the best manager and the best team in the world, and at 1:50, everyone needs to be sacked.
The whole lot of them. That happens in football. Football fans generally, no excuse to name because they're a different level of freak, but generally football fans are quite fickle. But I think they'll actually struggle next year. They needed that money. I think they were kind of banking on it. There's quite a few of their players that are going to go. Definitely not for the money that they're trying to pimp themselves out and tout they're selling the media with these invented fake clubs. But they've all struggled, I think, with the fact that they'll need a wee bit of an overhaul with the squad. Main players obviously leaving will be your McGregors and that they're up with contract, and then whether they have the money or not to bring players in is another matter. They needed that money in the Champions League. That'll fuck them massively. Don't know how many more glamorous friendlies they can do or selling Castor for the back of a van outside their stadium. They'll need a lot of pennies to salvage that shit. But I think they banked on that money massively, and the fact that Celtic have just done them. I couldn't, not even about the financial perspective. I just love the fact that Celtic are back to a degree, and that there's and that there's a belief about the team, and it's just amazing to be able to see that connection again between the team and the support. For a season or two there, it was sort of disconnected. There was a degree of hatred at times actually around this sort of club, with the board and the management and all the rest of it. There was so many. It seemed like every week there was a situation. There was a circus of sorts for a season there. But on and off the park, the guy, there's an element of class to him. He uses class. Like when you watch his videos, the way he speaks, he conducts himself, the way he handles himself. The guy, he deserves all the credit in the world. All the adulation should go to Postecoglou, because the job he's done has been unreal.
It really has been. It's just been absolute joyful this last load of games. And like we said, we were very confident going into that game, and we're even more confident going into the Hampden Park game next Sunday. Hopefully Kyogo's back in the squad. Just to,
you coming over, Lee?
No, mate, no. Easter Sunday. No. I'll get my knees and ankles clipped if I leave the promised land. If I leave the promised land next week. I wouldn't miss my Sunday dinner anyway, by the way, just saying, put it out there. In case you're watching.
Powerful.
No, no, I won't be making it. But even at the end, the players, like you said, Martin, the connection, it's definitely back. Like just I'm laughing when they were throwing stuff.
Just a feel-good factor about the club. Aye,
yeah,
but it's like all the body language as well. Though I was never huge in picking up on that. You know, like when they used to, like people were so angry, like what Pierce was saying earlier on, they were like desperate for people to blame. Like I used to do it with the laptop, and I hated the fucker. But we used to look at people's body language, like McManus on the sidelines or
Kennedy.
Players. Kennedy, sorry. He doesn't want to be there, and he's this and he's that. You look now, even the players that aren't playing, they all look. There's a connection. They look quite happy. They look quite content. It's easy to sort of make things up, I suppose, with training videos and that. But there just seems to be a work rate, and that there's an appetite and a desire that they all look like they want to be there, and it's paying dividend on the park because they all trust each other. They're all looking out for each other. They're working as a team now. But I thought for a season there we looked sort of disjointed, and it was just a team of individuals that didn't have they weren't there for each other as a collective. But this season, even if he hadn't won the league, I'd have said he should have stayed on. If he'd lost the league in the position we're in now, that's a whole different ball game. But my main aim this season was to see progress, see us going in the right direction. And he's just done that at a much faster trajectory than I expected. And I see us going in and winning a treble, which would just be an absolute nonsense, an absolute ridiculous achievement. The fifth manager in Celtic's history to do it. And what a job the guy's done. I just hope that he gets the right players, the right support for the board, and he allows us to go on and actually try and make even a tiny dent in Europe next season, because there's no good to just being domestically relevant. You need to put your marker down in Europe. And I'm not saying the Champions League. We're not at that level. We won't be at that level, irrespective of who we sign. But if we could try and get to third place, do the group stage, get into the UEFA Cup, and try and have a wee bit of run in the Europa. And there's no reason why we can't, because that mob are shite and they're going to be sailing into the semi-finals. So we need to get our finger out. But all positive. The guy is a god. I'm a big fan of him. He's class. Absolutely superb.
Absolutely. What a way to wrap it up, Martin. Fantastic. Lads, unreal, as always. We're going to be doing a preview for the St. Johnstone game on Saturday. So we'll look forward to that. Another massive game. Are we? And what about St. Johnstone in 2024? Season 2024-2025. What's that?
Yeah, God, I can't wait. I literally feel the buzz about going to the games now. I think since we beat Dundee United, I think there's been a real feeling of something's going to happen here. There's something, because only Celtic score goals like that. It feels get wins like that. But yeah, you're just looking forward to every single game now, and the return of Kyogo probably on Saturday.
How did you get on? Did you apply for the semi?
I didn't get a ticket. No.
I've tried to get you one there now, so I'll hold fire and see what's happening.
But I think that's going to be serious. If we score first in that game, there'll be at least 3 goals and a couple of red cards, because they'll just lose the plot.
Yeah, Celtic will score first. That'll be the big difference. Celtic will be a bit tighter. They'll be able to shore up in the first 5 minutes, and Celtic will overwhelm them with pressure. And I think we'll start with a really, really fast intensity. And that'll be the big difference, as you say. We score first there, they will just, their arses will fall. They'll completely and utterly capitulate. They didn't have a target man. They didn't have an out ball. I think they'll really, really struggle. Massive pitch, hem them in. Oh, I can't wait. It'd be absolutely rocking. Easter Sunday, what a laugh, eh? Oh, Father, why?
What a day it'll be, lads. What a day it'll be. Another victory. Do us lovely. But lads, pleasure as always. We'll hope you've enjoyed this. Kenny, thank you for commenting on YouTube, my man. Really appreciate it. You're an absolute legend. You'll be getting
solidarity to the solid reviewer.
The number one get them a number one fan jumper, sort of.
Send them a badge, I know.
Lads, pleasure. God bless. Up a Celtic, up Ange Postecoglou. Peace.
Cheers. Bye bye.